What's going on, traders? Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to check out the Patreon or the YouTube membership for my daily chart analysis. I hope to see you there. All right, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks got rid of 3,400 long positions and they also got rid of 2,600 short positions. And looking at a daily chart here of the US dollar index, look at the strength of the US dollar here. I would not recommend shorting the US dollar at all. And if you come to a weekly chart here, you can clearly see the upper momentum on the weekly chart is absolutely insane. We're breaking supply zones. We've already broken basically 3 supply zones so far. One right here, here, and here as well. So yes, it's very possible that we could see the US dollar come back to this weekly area of demand where it'll be a nice dip buying pullback. But until then, I would just continue to trade long on the US dollar, and I would just continue to trade with this trend. There's really not too much else to say looking at the US dollar, but clearly momentum is way up, and I would only recommend still continuing to buy US dollar pairs until we see a significant shift in momentum on this 4-hour chart where we start to see demand zones being broken, and then that would be a great sign that we are probably going to be pulling back to this weekly area of demand where we could get that dip buying opportunity on the US dollar pairs. All right, looking at EURUSD, and in last week's forecast, I talked about this 4-hour area of supply and how we could be waiting for that 4-hour supply zone to be hit and looking for confirmation coming off of this 4-hour supply zone. So if you got involved off of my zones and off of the weekly Forex forecast, congratulations to you. Let me know if you did take this. And if you are interested in getting these zones on a daily basis, make sure to check out the YouTube or Patreon membership. Links are in the description. It's only $5 cap per month. It's extremely cheap. You can get all of these zones on a daily basis to use in your trading. A lot of traders are using it, and I get positive feedback all the time. It could definitely help you in your trading. So I would love to see you guys join the team of other traders who are using my zones to become profitable traders. Now looking at the Euro USD COT report, the past week the banks got rid of 14,544 long positions, and they also added about the same amount of short positions at about 14,000 short positions. Looking at the daily chart here on the Euro, we are still sitting in this daily area of demand. We haven't seen much price action, but a tier 2 Patreon member today asked me, would you recommend going in long on the Euro right now? And I do think, we could see the Euro pull up like this. And if you do want to get in long, I would target 1.07. Short, I would target 1.040. And I told him, I wouldn't really recommend doing that because you'd be trading against this weekly and daily downtrend. So in my opinion, it's just not a great idea. I would just continue to trade with this trend. Yes, the Euro could go up from here, but you'd be trading against the bigger picture time frame downtrend. So now let's look at a few setups that I see. And to be honest, I don't really see much. So we already had this one here. That was all that we had. So now what I would wait for is I would actually wait for price to make a new low, breaking this low, hopefully leaving us with a supply zone here that we can get involved with to the short side. But until that happens on the Euro, I just do not see any type of trades possibilities at all. If you come to a 1-hour chart, I wouldn't even recommend shorting until this 1-hour supply is broken, hopefully leaving a 1-hour demand is broken, hopefully leaving us with a 1-hour supply zone here where we can look to get involved to the short side. But until then, Euro is just not really on my watch list to be trading right now, and the trade that was great was last week that I predicted in last week's forecast. All right, and on to gold. And really quick, just wanted to show you guys this 1-hour supply zone that I talked about last week. It reacted beautifully off of this supply zone. So if you got involved in there, let me know, and congratulations to you. We didn't get that pullback right away into the 1-hour supply zone. As you can see, price came really far down and then eventually pushed back up. But look at the reaction from this 1-hour supply zone. That is why I have the Patreon YouTube membership, and that's why I think it'd be great for you guys. And that's why I like to show you guys as well, to show you that this analysis is very accurate if applied correctly. So beautiful reaction off that 1-hour supply zone. And looking at the COT reports for gold, the past week the banks got rid of 17,000 long positions and they added 1,784 short positions. We still have that daily downtrend here on gold. As you can see, it's a very nice downtrend as well. As far as long positions go, I would target about, I can't really see based on this thing right here, but I would target about 1940. And to the short side, I would target before this daily demand at about 1845. As far as trading decisions go, you could just be continuing to trade with this daily downtrend here. And if you look at a weekly chart, I think I talked about this last week as well, where there is profit margin down to this weekly area of supply. So I would just continue to trade to the short side. Coming to a 4-hour chart here, there were a few zones that worked right here that I had for members, but now we are stuck. We are stuck right at this 4-hour area of demand. We reacted beautifully off of this demand zone. So now, to keep it very simple, I wouldn't really recommend going in long until we remove all of this supply. Then I would consider going in long, but I would just continue to trade with that daily downtrend. But first, I would want to see this demand zone taken out, leaving a 4-hour supply zone, which I will have for myself and for the members. And we can take a trade off of that 4-hour supply zone if that occurs. And that would just basically be waiting for momentum on the lower time frames like the 4-hour and the 1-hour to shift back down, and then continue to trade with this daily downtrend like this with tons of profit margin looking at the weekly chart. So I know this might be a lot, but I'm just trying to really break this down for you guys. I think gold's looking great for possible short trades. And like I said, I would not recommend getting in long until all of this supply is actually removed first. USDJPY forecast. The past week, the banks added 9,500 long positions, and they also added 4,300 short positions. Our daily target was actually hit to a T right here, right before this daily area of demand right here. So if you took profits there, very nice. And the USD yen, there's not much to say about it other than the trend is extremely strong right now. I don't really see too many setups. I think we are very much overdue for this pullback down to this weekly demand zone, but I just don't see any evidence of that taking place just yet. So I would just continue to trade with that weekly and daily trend. And what that's going to look like is a new 4-hour or 1-hour demand zone being formed. So hopefully we get a nice push up, leaving us with new 4-hour demand where we can look to day trade off that 4-hour demand zone, or look to set and forget trade as well. And if you don't know what set and forget trading or confirmation trading is, check out my tips playlist. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So definitely check that out. But I do not see any setups so far. It's going to be hard to get a setup because we're going to need to see price push up. But overall, I think just getting in long here is definitely just the best option, especially since we kind of pulled back to this daily area of demand. We didn't actually touch the demand zone, but I think it's safe to say we are reacting off of some sort of demand. And I think looking for longs is the best thing to do. So to recap, I think just waiting for a new 4-hour or 1-hour demand zone to be formed and then waiting for the pullback to that zone is the best option here on USDJPY. All right, GBPUSD forecast. And really quick, if you guys are enjoying this video and finding these forecasts helpful, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Comment down below and let me know what pairs you guys are watching this week. But looking at the British pound, the past week, the banks got rid of 6,900 long positions, and they also got rid of 2,700 short positions. If you do want to get in long, which I do not recommend, I would target about 1.26 short. I would target about 1.22 or even really lower based on these strong trends. So we have a daily downtrend here, weekly downtrend. I did see one setup. It was not, extremely great, but this was a classic example of a 1-hour set and forget trade right here. Yes, price reacted off it. We haven't really got that move down yet, but I do believe we could see a bigger push down. So that was a typical set and forget trade right there. And as far as any setups go right now, I do not see much. Looking at a 4-hour chart here, if we do end up getting a pullback to this 4-hour supply zone here or here, you definitely could look for a 15-minute confirmation coming off of any one of these zones. I think is completely fine based on the higher time frames at least. So until then, I really don't see any setups except for confirmation in there. Or if we make a new low on this 1-hour chart down here, then we will probably be left with a 1-hour supply zone we can look to get in short. As far as long trades go, like I said, if you want to get in long, you'd be trading against the weekly and daily downtrend. So I do not recommend that at all. And the only way I would be thinking about getting in long here is if both of these 4-hour supply zones are removed like this. We get a low and then a new high like that. Then I would say, going in long on lower time frames is completely fine. But until then, I would either just wait for confirmation in those zones or wait for a new 1-hour supply zone to look to continue to trade with that downtrend. All right, USD CAD forecast. The past week, the banks added 7,700 longs and they got rid of 4,117 short positions. We reacted beautifully off of this daily area of demand right here, and we are moving up. And if you look at a weekly chart as well, we actually removed this weekly area of supply. So things are looking up here on USD CAD, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with the US dollar index as well. So as far as setups go, I do not see any right now at all. What I would wait for, and I'm going to keep this extremely simple so that everybody can understand, once we get another little push up, we will have the ability to draw a trend line connecting it here, and we will have a 4-hour uptrend. Then you could start to set and forget trade on the 15-minute, the 5-minute time frames to the long side. So until then, I do not recommend trading long or short. And why do I recommend trading short? Well, because to me, this is going to be a high traffic area with a lot of stop losses above here. So I do not think going in short is a great idea. And we are reacting off of daily demand. So daily demand is in control. And like I said, that weekly supply zone has been removed. So if you do want to get in long, you could target 1.29. Short, I would target about 1.28. But like I said, I would not recommend shorting. Yes, we could see a pullback to the downside, but ultimately I think it's very high odds that we will be breaking up to the upside. And when we do, that trend line will actually look something like this here, where you could draw it like that. And then we will have a 4-hour uptrend, 1-hour uptrend, 15-minute, 5-minute, and 1-minute uptrend. And then as far as day trading goes, set and forget trades to the long side after that is extremely high odds. So that is really all I recommend doing on USD CAD. Just playing a waiting game, but that's the beautiful thing about trading. I know there's a lot of guys on here that do weekly Forex forecasts that they always want to give you a setup so that you'll always click on the video and you're entertained. But for me personally, I think it's best to just give you guys the best ideas, even if that means sitting on the sidelines and waiting for that optimal setup. AUDUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 110 longs and they added 755 short positions on the Aussie US dollar. Looking at a daily chart here, it's all over the map. It's completely sideways right now. If you do want to get in long, I would target 0.73. Short, I would target about 0.70. I still think it's best to wait for shorts, to wait for this daily supply zone to be hit and look for confirmation coming off of there. That's the best idea in my opinion. But just even looking at the weekly chart, we're sitting in monthly and weekly demand. So I don't really think going in short is even the best idea. But even long, it's just it's a very weird pair to be trading right now. And I actually don't even recommend having this one on your watch list. If you really, really want to trade the Aussie dollar, there are a few, there's a 1-hour supply zone here. I guess you could look for 5-minute confirmation coming off of here. But this is just very low odds trading in my opinion, to just find a zone and look for confirmation in it without understanding the higher time frames. So if you do get in short in this area, I would recommend taking profits at 1-to-1, 2-to-1. So it's just not even really worth it in my opinion. So other than that, on the Aussie dollar, I really don't see anything at all. There's no trend on the weekly, no trend on the daily, no trend on the 4-hour, and no trend on the 1-hour. So to keep it very simple for you guys, I do not see any setups in here on this pair, and I hope that you guys can appreciate my honesty. And not just trying to always show you guys a setup for the sake of the YouTube video or whatever, right? So hope you guys appreciate that. And this is just one pair that I don't think we should be trading right now. Yes, if price does break lower here, then you could start to day trade the lower time frames like the 15-minute and the 5-minute down to the short side based on that 4-hour downtrend. But until then, I would just be sitting on the sidelines. All right, USD Swiss franc. The past week, the banks added 940 longs and they got rid of 98 short positions. If you look at the daily chart here, just what a tear this pair is on. If you do want to get in long, I would target about 0.99124. I don't know what's going on here with the side of my thing. There's a bunch of black lines, so it's hard to read all that stuff. I do apologize. To the short side, I would target right before this demand zone right there. It's not really demand zone, but it is some sort of buying, so I would target right before there. If you look at a weekly chart here, just wow, this thing is just straight up in a straight line. So are we due for a pullback? Sure, but I would just continue to trade with this trend. We had a beautiful setup here off of this 1-hour demand zone. I'm not sure if any of the YouTuber Patreon members caught a trade off of this 1-hour zone, but this is a zone that you could be getting if you are a member, so definitely check that out. If we get a new push up here, we will have new demand here where we could look to get in long there. But as of now, I don't see any setups. This was, if price was back here or something like that, then I would have said, this is a setup here, but until then, I just don't see anything at all right now. There are a few 4-hour zones right here. This is a 4-hour zone, but the problem with this zone is that if price does come back down, we'll be below the trend line. The trend is technically sideways at that point, so I don't really recommend doing that. So all I would wait for here is to continue to trade with the daily, weekly uptrend and wait for a new 1-hour zone to be formed up there, or you could even wait for the H4 chart to produce a new 4-hour zone, which I will obviously draw out for the members, and we can look to trade to the long side there. So this is just one where, you know, the timing of the week, it's Friday night. I'm making this video and I don't see any setups right now, but it's very likely we will get new 1-hour and 4-hour zones throughout the week where we can trade off of those. So check out the YouTube Patreon membership if you do want those zones throughout the week. All right, last but not least, crude oil. The past week, the banks added 6,000 longs and they added 416 short positions. Good for us. Oil has not been shooting up, so it's great for for everybody. The price of gas is just absolutely insane right now in Canada, so I'm extremely happy that oil has not been going up, but we are still stuck between supply and demand right here. Since we reacted off of daily demand the latest, I would just continue to trade to the long side and target about 120 a barrel. So as far as setups go, don't really see too much right now. There are a few 4-hour demand zones right here. This is one, if you remember, you could have got that one. But until we get a new 4-hour zone right here, I don't really recommend trading this one at all. I wouldn't say at all. You could be day trading this 4-hour and 1-hour uptrend on a 15-minute or 5-minute chart, just waiting for pullbacks and continuing to buy. But until then, I just don't really see too much on this chart at all. I would just wait for a new 1-hour and 4-hour zones to be formed. If you come to a 1-hour chart here, we could possibly get a new 1-hour zone with the removal of this 1-hour supply zone. So if we get something like that, that would be a nice little dip buying opportunity. Obviously, there's a beautiful trade right here you could have taken, but I believe that was halfway through the week. So oil's looking pretty decent for longs right now. The overall trend is extremely strong. We're just stuck on the daily chart between supply and demand. But like I said at the start of this forecast on oil, daily demand was the last one to be touched. So daily demand and buyers are in control right now. So I think there is profit margin left to continue to trade to the long side. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.